Okay, we are now on the topic of negotiable instruments. Actually, this subject, negotiable instruments, is not included in the CPA licensure examination in terms of specifications and syllabus. Okay, this is not included. However, we have to at least have a simplified understanding of this topic as a background for our topic on bouncing checks and the bouncing checks law. Okay, so this negotiable instruments used to be one full subject in the previous curriculum. So this subject is actually a very complicated subject that is used to be taught in one whole semester. Okay, but by force of circumstances, we are constrained to discuss only simple and general principles of negotiable instruments because this is not anymore included in the CPA licensure examinations. However, I would like to discuss it to you in this subject, simplified lang as a background lang for our topic on checks later on. So if you look at the book, any available book on negotiable instruments, this would be a very lengthy subject. So for purposes of this course or subject, we will only discuss the simplified uh, general understanding of negotiable instruments. Okay, so the negotiable instruments law, or what we call the NIL, negotiable instruments law, is actually Act number 2031. Okay, and this was enacted on February 3, 1911. If you look at it, it's in 1911. This law is actually a very old law. Okay, 1911, during the American occupation of the Philippines. This might be the reason why this is not included in the CPA licensure examination anymore, because many authors, many teachers would always comment that this law is actually uh, somewhat obsolete. Okay? Ang pinaka ginagamit na lang na portion ng batas na ito is that part regarding checks. Cheque. Okay? However, i-understand pa rin natin yung general concepts para hindi kayo ma-misled. Okay? So this is actually a very old law, and generally impractical because people do not use this anymore. Even ang checks ngayon, ang cheque, isang beses lang pwede i-endorse kasi ayaw natanggapin ng second endorser. Or kung i-endorse mo pa for the second time. Anyway, we will discuss that as we go along. Okay, so negotiable instruments. What are negotiable instruments? Negotiable instruments actually are documents. Documents, okay, wherein a person, okay, promises to give money to another through this instrument or document. This is actually a contract, but this document is actually negotiable, meaning it can be endorsed or forwarded to another, okay, like money. So it serves like money. It changes hands. Yung value ng document will be transferred from one person to another. Okay, that is why it's called negotiable. But you must remember, this is not money and this is not legal tender. Therefore, if you pay me by making a negotiable instrument, yun ang pambayad mo sa akin, I can refuse that, and you cannot force me to accept that because that is not legal tender. Okay? It's a different thing if kung ang binayad mo pera tapos ayaw ko tanggapin, I might be in mora aksipendi, so that you can go to court and deposit the money. Bahala na ako magkuha doon sa court. But for purposes of negotiable instruments, these are just documents, okay, that are evidencing a sum of money that may be transferred from one person to another, but because it's not legal tender, you cannot force someone to accept a negotiable instrument, and he would not be in mura aksipindi for that purpose. Maybe because what you have agreed upon is payment in terms of money, not in instruments. Okay, so they do not constitute legal tender. It is only used as a substitute for money, especially kung ang amount involved are substantial or it involves large amounts of money. So it is very impractical to carry money around, to carry huge amount of money around for purposes of doing business. Okay, so this go checkbook na lang because cheque is a form of negotiable instrument. Okay, so cheque na lang ang pambayad to facilitate trade, to facilitate business. Kasi kung dala ka ng 10 million, 20 million, baka ma-hold up ka pa. Okay? So, negotiable instruments, these are documents, okay, containing value in terms of money, which is used as substitute for money, primarily to facilitate trade and business, para mas madali makipag-business. Especially when the money involved is substantial or of a large amount. So negotiable papers, particularly checks, okay, especially checks, constitute at present at this time, 2021. Okay, the check is actually in current situation, the check or cheque is the most used negotiable instrument. Okay, so cheque is the media of exchange for most commercial transactions at present. Okay, that is why ang CPA licensure examination refers only to check, bouncing checks, not the whole topic of negotiable instruments. Okay, so negotiable instruments shall produce the effect of payment only when they have been in cash. So pag nagbayad ka in the form of check or any negotiable instrument, okay, it will not, your obligation may not be extinguished yet because a check or a negotiable instrument is not legal tender. Okay, we have to wait for that check or negotiable instrument to be converted into cash bago natin masabi na your obligation maybe to pay has been extinguished by the encashment of the instrument or the check. Okay, so not all instruments are negotiable class. Okay, there should be the negotiable instruments law, okay, requires certain elements to be included in an instrument for it to become negotiable. So therefore, there are two kinds of instruments class: negotiable instruments and the non-negotiable instruments. Okay. Siyempre, yung non-negotiable instruments, and because it is non-negotiable, okay, it is just a contract between two persons, maybe the debtor-creditor, okay, the debtor promising to pay the creditor, okay, without additional attributes required for the negotiability. So according to the negotiable instruments law, these are the requisites so that an instrument is said to be negotiable. For purposes of this discussion class, we will not bother anymore about non-negotiable instruments because that is not part of the topic. So we will look into negotiable instruments, and these are the requisites. Number one, An instrument to be negotiable must conform to the following. Number 1, it must be in writing. Okay? And signed by the maker or drawer. Okay? Kung anong kaibahan ng maker or drawer will be discussed in the next slide. So it must be in writing plus and signed. Number 2, it must contain an unconditional promise or order to pay a sum certain in money. Take note ang naka-underline dyan, unconditional promise or order. Okay? Yung promise to pay must be unconditional, walang conditions whatsoever. Okay? And the thing involved there is a sum certain in money, dapat in money. Okay? If you look at your assignment, may question ako doon, anong kaibahan ng negotiable instrument sa negotiable document of title. Okay? Sa negotiable instrument class, money ang nakasulat doon. I will pay money unconditionally. Pero sa negotiable documents of title, ang nakasulat doon, goods. Goods. Okay? Sa negotiable document of title, isikip ko na lang. Okay? Mayroon kang maraming goods doon sa warehouse. Binigyan ka ng papel as an evidence na ikaw yung may-ari doon, and then nakatatak doon negotiable. Ibig sabihin, yung papel na yon na that represents ownership over the goods in the warehouse, pwede mo ibenta sa ibang tao or i-negotiate. Para din siyang negotiable instrument. Ang problema lang ng negotiable title of document is ang involved doon, ang thing involved are goods, not money. Okay? Yan ang kaibahan. Ang isang kaibahan, ang main difference ng negotiable instruments and negotiable document of title. Okay, ang negotiable instruments, ang nakasulat na promise is to pay a sum certain in money, while ang negotiable title of document of title, okay, that document, okay, represent title over goods. Okay, kasi class, kung minsan yung goods sa warehouse marami masyado, it's very uncomfortable, impractical to carry those goods around para ibenta sa iba. Okay, so ang bit-bit mo na lang, papel lang na, oh, may goods ako doon, benta ko sa itong papel, ikaw lang may-ari doon. So that is a negotiable document of title. But we will not bother about that. First, we will discuss muna negotiable instruments. Basta, negotiable instrument must be in writing, signed by the maker or drawer, ang nakasulat, unconditional promise or order, and then ang amount involved is money, certain sum in money. Certain meaning, it must be determinate nga money, ilan magkano, hindi pwede na hindi nakalagay yung kung magkano. Okay? Kami noon sa law school, pag mag-give kami example, okay, I promise to give you 10,000. 10,000 what? Carabao, 10,000 chicken, dapat 10,000 pesos because it must be in money. Okay. So, number 3, it must be payable on demand or at a fixed or determinable future time. Okay, so payable on demand siya. Pwede rin fix. On demand meaning, walang nakasulat na date, so anytime pwede mo i-demand ng bayan. Okay. Actually class, ang date is not required sa negotiable instrument, except lang kung ang nilagay mo doon is payable on a fixed date, so you have to put the date or a determinable future time. Okay. Number 4, it must be payable to order or bearer. We will discuss order or bearer later in the next slides. Number 5, where the instrument is addressed to a drawee, it must be named therein, otherwise indicated with reasonable certainty. Okay. Kung ano yan si drawee, will be discussed in the succeeding slides. Okay. So this These requisites class are very important for to be understood and remembered, because these are the criteria to determine if the instrument is negotiable or not. So what are the common forms of negotiable instruments? Number 1, promissory note. Number 2, bill of exchange. And number 3, check. Okay, check. So what is a promissory note? A promissory note, there are two kinds of promissory note: a non-negotiable promissory note and a negotiable promissory note. But for purposes of this subject, we will focus on a negotiable promissory note, which is an unconditional promise in writing made by one person to another, signed by the maker, engaging to pay a demand or at a fixed level for future time, some certain in money, to order or to bearer. So examples of that are certificates of deposit, bonds, banknotes, and due bills, which, because this law is from 1911, hindi na masyado kasi ginagamit itong mga examples nito. Actually, hindi pa ako nakakita ng mga yan because they are not really used in day-to-day transactions. Certificate of deposits pa siguro nakakita na. Anyway, promissory note. Take note class, sa promissory note, dalawa lang ang involved. Yung nag-promise, ang tawag sa kanya maker. At saka yung gipromisan, ang tawag sa kanya payee. Okay, so sa promissory note, letter P, promissory note. Letter P, promissory note, or PN, minsan tawag dyan PN. Okay, dalawa lang ang parties involved. The maker, siya yung nag-promise, at saka yung gipromisan niya, which is the payee. Okay. Ang bill of exchange naman class, halos pareha lang ng promissory note. Kaya lang, in this time, ang involved are three persons. Oh. So, bill of exchange, example lang. Now, there are two kinds of bill of exchange, yung non-negotiable bill of exchange at saka yung negotiable. So, we do not bother anymore about that non-negotiable bill of exchange kasi ang topic natin, negotiable bill of exchange. Okay, tatlo sila ang involved class. Okay, halimbawa, may pera ka sa ibang tao, si Mr. X. So, gumawa ka ng, may pera ka doon, nakatago sa kay Mr. X. May utang ka sa akin. So, gumawa ka ng negotiable bill of exchange. Nakasulat doon, I promise to the order of Glenn, ako. Order pala. Pay to the order of Glenn the amount of so and so. Ibig sabihin, yung bill of exchange, okay, sinasabihan mo yung si Mr. X na yung pera ko dyan, ibayad mo kay Glenn. Okay? Ang tawag sa iyo na gumawa ng bill of exchange is the drawer. Si Mr. X yung may hawak ng pera is called the drawee. Ako yung gipromisan is still called a payee. Okay? So take note lang sa promissory note, ang nag-promise to pay that is ang maker, tapos ang gipromisan is the payee. Dalawa sila involved. While ang bill of exchange, three persons are involved. The drawer, siya yung gumawa ng bill of exchange. Ino-orderan niya yung drawee, another person, nandun ang pera niya. Nabayaran yung payee. Examples are drafts, trade acceptance, and checks. Because a check plus is actually a bill of exchange that is drawn on a bank and payable on demand. Okay? Because yung bill of exchange may be drawn against a payee who is not a bank, maybe he's a person, but a check is always drawn on a bank. Okay, so a bill of exchange that is drawn on a bank, may pera ka sa bangko, may checkbook ka, okay, sabihin mo ang bangko, pay to the order of Glenn, 10,000 pesos. So yung check, dalhin ko sa bangko, dahil yung bangko yung drawee. Ako yung payee, and I will demand the payment there. Okay? Okay. This is an example of the negotiable promissory note. So, may date, may lugar kung saan siya ginawa. Okay, for value received, I promise to pay to the order of Juan de la Cruz the sum of 1,000 pesos. Okay, signed Pedro de la Serna. Okay, to February 1, 2021 class is not really required. But for convenience, ilagay mo na lang. Okay. So, if you can observe, may nakasulat din for value received. Maybe may binili siya ng tig 1,000 ang value, and then babayaran niya by the form of a promissory note. Okay? So, take note, nakasulat dito, pay to the order. Okay? Yung word na to the order, yun ang indication that the promissory note is negotiable. Minsan, ang sinusulat nila is, I promise to pay Juan de la Cruz or order. Okay? So, pwede rin ganun. Pwede rin pay to the order of Juan de la Cruz or pay to Juan de la Cruz or order. Okay? Pwede rin ganun. Pagka nakasulat class order, ang tawag sa instrument is an order instrument. The sum of, ibig sabihin ng order class, for example, si Juan de la Cruz, gusto niya ipasa kay Tomas. Okay, yung promissory note, gusto niya i-transfer, i-forward, i-negotiate, i-endorse sa ibang tao because that is the essence of negotiable instruments. Okay? So, sabi ni Juan de la Cruz, "Hoy Tomas, mayroon ako ditong promissory note, 1,000 ito, kunin mo kay Pedro de la Serna. Bigyan mo na lang ako ng 1,000, ikaw na magkuha doon kay Pedro de la Serna." So, yung ganun ang usapan dyan. And then, i-endorse niya sa likod ng instrument, sulatan niya doon. Okay, to Tomas. Kasi, sabi dito kasi sa promissory, pay to the order of Juan de la Cruz. So, sa likod, ang order ni Juan de la Cruz, bayaran si Tomas, 1,000. So, si Tomas na ngayon, ang pupunta kay Pedro de la Serna, okay, to claim the 1,000 pesos. Okay, so that is the essence of negotiable instruments. Paano sir kung hindi magbayad si Pedro de la Cruz? O sabi sa negotiable instruments law, pag dishonor ni Pedro de la Serna ang 1,000, sabi niya kay Tomas, ayaw ko kita bayaran. Si Tomas ngayon, pwede niya habulin si Juan de la Cruz. Balik sa kay Juan de la Cruz, ibalik mo yung 1,000 ko kasi ayaw ito promissory note mo, dishonor ni Pedro, ayaw niya bayaran. So that is the essence of negotiable instruments class. Okay? So pwede ipasa-pasa yung instrument at kapag ka na-dishonor, pwede mo balikan yung mga tao na nag-endorse, na nag-transfer ng instrument na yan. Okay? So, if you look at this, dalawang involved dito, si Juan de la Cruz at saka si Pedro de la Serna. Ang tawag kay Juan de la Cruz is the payee, Juan de la Serna is the maker. So, ito example natin class is an order instrument dahil ang nakasulat to the order of Juan de la Cruz. Okay? Pero pag nakasulat dyan, I promise to pay the bearer the sum of 1,000 pesos, that is called a bearer instrument. Yung bearer, hindi na kailangan bigyan ng pangalan kasi anyone who holds that is considered the bearer and he has the right to claim the 1,000 pesos. Pwede rin class nakasulat, I promise to pay Juan de la Cruz or bearer. O bearer instrument pa rin yun. Si Juan de la Cruz or any bearer. Kasi si Juan de la Cruz pwede niya ipasa ang instrument sa ibang tao. So any bearer can claim kay Pedro de la Serna kung bearer yung instrument. So, this example is an order instrument. Yung sinabi ko na example kanina lang is a bearer instrument. Or a bearer promissory note to be specific. This example is an order promissory note. It can also be a bearer promissory note depende sa words used. Okay? Example ng bill of exchange. Ito, tatlo na sila. Pay to the order of Juan de la Cruz, the sum of 1,000 pesos for value received. Okay. So, ang drawer, si Pedro de la Serna kasi siya gumawa. Ang drawee, nakasulat to Tomas Domingo. So, he's telling Tomas Domingo, maybe may pera sa kay Tomas Domingo, he's telling Tomas Domingo to pay Juan de la Cruz or to the order of Juan de la Cruz. So si Juan de la Cruz is the payee, siya yung mangungulekta ng 1,000. Pedro de la Serna is the drawer, siya yung gumawa ng instrument. And Tomas Domingo is the drawee, siya yung may hawak ng pera. Siya yung taong puntahan ni Juan de la Cruz para i-present a bill of exchange para mabayaran siya ng 1,000 pesos. Now, take note class, na nakasulat dito, pay to the order of Juan de la Cruz. Therefore, this is an bill of exchange na order instrument or an order bill of exchange or an order instrument. Okay. So, pwede rin nakasulat dito class, pay to Juan de la Cruz or order. Pwede rin ganun. Order instrument pa rin yun. Okay. Kung i-convert mo ito sa bearer instrument, it should say, pay to the bearer the sum of 1,000 pesos. Or, pay to Juan de la Cruz or bearer. Ganun, pwede yun. In that case, it will become a bearer instrument. Pero itong example natin is an order instrument class. Take note doon sa Philippine, sa promissory note, ang sabi doon, I promise to pay. Kasi yung maker, siya din yung magbabayad. Dito naman, pay to the order. Inutusan ni Pedro de la Serna si Tomas Domingo na bayaran to pay. Juan de la Cruz or order. Kasi yung pera nasa kay Tomas de la Cruz. Because this is a three-way contract, tatlo sila ang involved, this is a bill of exchange. Okay. So, what are the characteristics of negotiable instrument? Okay, number one characteristic is the negotiability. This is the quality or attribute whereby a bill, a note, or a check passes or may pass from hand to hand similar to money, so as to give the holder in due course the right to hold the instrument and collect the sum payable for himself free from defenses. Okay? So, negotiability ang pinaka-aim ng negotiable instruments. Okay? Para siyang pera na mag-transfer from hand to hand. Para yung holder in due course or holder for value and for in due course, which we will later discuss. Okay? Kung ikaw yung last na nakahawak, okay? The law says you have all the right to collect the sum for yourself free from defenses. Kahit anong nangyari dyan sa mga nag-endorse, basta ikaw yung holder in due course, innocent ka, wala kang alam sa mga kalokohan na nangyayari, tapos ikaw nakahawak ng instrument, because the law says, protektahan natin yung integrity ng negotiable instrument para ma-facilitate yung commerce, industry, and trade. Okay? Dapat yung holder in due course na in good faith, holder na for value, ibig sabihin, nag-exchange ng value para sa instrument na yun. He can collect the sum for himself, okay, when the time is due. Number two, the most important feature of negotiable instruments is the accumulation of secondary contracts as they are transferred from one person to another. Secondary contracts class because, okay, yung original na parties sa instrument, pwede nila, yung payee, pwede niya i-negotiate, i-transfer from one person to another until the last person. Yung last person who will collect, okay, hindi siya binayaran, pwede niya balikan lahat ng mga nag-endorse, yung lahat na nag-transfer, yung lahat na nakapirma doon sa likod ng kontrata na nag-transfer ng negotiable instrument. Dahil secondary contracts, he can go after those persons kapag dishonor yung instrument ng drawee or ng maker. Okay? So when is a negotiable instrument payable to order? Okay, number one, when the instrument is payable to order or where it is drawn payable to order or of a specified person or to him or his order. Okay, so pay to one or order, pwede rin pay to the order of one, basta may word na order. Order class ang ginagamit because one can order anyone, can order the negotiation to anyone. Okay, so pwede niya ilipat sa iba. Kaya, depende sa order niya. Okay, it is negotiated by endorsement and delivery. Take note class, basta payable to order class. Okay, ang negotiation means, ibig sabihin ng negotiation, yung transfer, dapat dalawa ang involved. Endorsement and delivery. Endorsement means, sa likod ng instrument, isulat ni Juan kung kanino niya ipasa. That is an endorsement. And then, yung instrument, ibigay niya doon sa pasahan niya. That is delivery. So, therefore, to negotiate an order instrument, there must be two acts. Number one, the endorsement, isulat mo doon sa likod, and delivery, pagbigay. Actually. Because class, in contrast, okay, compare lang natin at this point, yung bearer instrument class, hindi mo kailangan i-endorse, i-deliver mo lang kasi nakasulat doon, any bearer. So, hindi mo na kailangan sulatan sa likod kung kanino mo ipasa. Just deliver it, bahala na yung bearer kasi nakasulat doon sa instrument bearer. Okay, for purposes of this slide, because this is payable to order, or this is an order instrument, the negotiation has two acts. By endorsement, isulat mo kung kanino mo ipapasa, and then ibigay mo doon sa tao na yun. Endorsement and delivery. Take note of that. Note, it may become a bearer instrument if it is endorsed as such or when it is endorsed in blank. Okay, an order instrument class nakasulat pay to the order of Juan de la Cruz or pay to de la Cruz or order. So, order instrument siya. Pero pag endorse ni Juan de la Cruz, sinabi niya, pay to the bearer. Sa likod, nakasulat niya sa likod, pay to the bearer. O yung order instrument, naging bearer, na convert. Okay? Pwede rin endorsement in blank. Ibig sabihin, gipirmahan lang ni Juan de la Cruz sa likod. Murag check ko sa bangko. Pirmahan lang mo sa likod. That is a blank endorsement. Hindi mo sinulat kung kanino mo i-endorse. It means, it is endorsed to anyone who is the bearer of that instrument. Okay, so an order instrument may become a bearer instrument when it is endorsed. Sinulat doon, endorsed to a bearer. Hindi sinabi kung sino, basta bearer. Or it becomes a bearer instrument. Or when the endorsement is in blank. Okay. So an order instrument, take note, may become a bearer instrument. And back to order instrument later on, depende sa endorsement sa likod ng instrument. Pag sinabi doon, order na naman, di balik na naman sa pagka-order instrument. Okay? Payable to bearer. When is it payable to bearer? When it's expressed to be so payable. Pag nakasulat na payable to bearer, it is so payable as a bearer instrument. When it is payable to a person named therein or to the bearer. Basta may bearer na word. When it is payable to the order of a fictitious person, gusto butan mo ito, Snow White or Superman. And such fact is known to the person making it so payable, it becomes a bearer instrument. Okay? Kasi fictitious naman yung tao. Basta alam nung gumagawa na fictitious yung tao. Okay, pag hindi niya alam, then it will not become a bearer instrument. The name of the pay does not purport to be the name of any person. Parang fictitious pa rin. When the only or last endorsement is an endorsement in blank. This was discussed kanina. Okay? Kapag endorsement in blank, magiging bearer instrument. A bearer instrument, basta originally bearer siya, yung original instrument ang bearer, remains to be a bearer instrument even if it is endorsed to the order of a particular person. Okay? So take note class, a bearer instrument is always a bearer instrument regardless of the endorsement. Pero an order instrument may become a bearer instrument and may reverted back to being a order instrument depende sa endorsement. So ang bearer instrument is always a bearer. Ang nag-change lang is yung order instrument. So, as such, because it is payable to bearer, it is negotiated by mere delivery. Wala na endorsement. Sir, paano kung gi-endorse pa niya bago niya i-deliver? With more reason na pwede na i-negotiate. Okay. Pero a bearer instrument may be negotiated only by mere delivery. Incomplete instrument but delivered. Okay. If you are familiar sa mga blank check, bigyan kita ng cheque, walang amount, may pirma ko na. Ikaw na bala isulat kung magkano yung pinabili ko sa iyo. Okay, that is an incomplete instrument pero gi-deliver, binigay. So as such, okay, may authority to complete it. Okay, yung binigyan mo, may authority siya na i-complete. Pero may restriction. Ang pag-complete niya, ang pagsulat niya doon, dapat according lang sa instruction. Hindi pwede na pag gusto lang siya, lagyan niya 10 million. Hindi pwede. Okay? So, an incomplete instrument na gi-deliver, okay, is, okay, yung person na binigyan has a prima facie authority to complete it by filling up the blanks therein according to the instruction of the maker or the drawer. Okay? It must be filled up strictly in accordance with the authority given and within a reasonable time. Okay? Incomplete instrument but not delivered. Okay, blank check nasa drawer, hindi binigay. Kanina binigay, ngayon hindi. Tapos ninakaw yung blank check. Tapos gilagyan ng 10 million. Okay, kapag ka incomplete undelivered, it is where the incomplete instrument has not been delivered, it will not, even if completed and negotiated without authority, it will not be a valid contract in the hands of any holder, even if a holder in due course, as against any person whose signature was placed thereon before delivery. Kasi nga, ninakaw yung instrument. Sa umpisa pa lang, hindi na siya valid. Okay? Yung delivered, kung gi-deliver, valid lang yun kung within the instruction ang pag-fill up. Okay? So, in this sense, it gives a real defense and not just personal. So, real defense ito, ibig sabihin, lahat na may hawak, pwede maging defense ito, real defense. Na hindi ako magbabayad, if I am the drawee or the maker, hindi ako magbabayad kasi ang instrument na yan, incomplete, tapos ninakaw lang. Okay, that is a real defense. It can be enforced against the whole world. Pero yung kanina, yung incomplete siya pero gi-deliver, tapos ang pag-fill up ng sobra lang sa instruction, that is just personal defense. Ibig sabihin, it can only be used against the person na nag-fill up. Yung mga subsequent na walang alam sa defect, especially a holder in due course, okay, hindi mo pwede going defense yun. Kasi personal lang yun doon sa tao na binigyan mo ng instruction. But this incomplete instrument but not delivered is a real defense. Kasi ninakaw lang yung instrument. Forged signature, of course, because it is forged, illegal, it is wholly inoperative, hindi siya valid. He has no right to retain the instrument and so on and so forth. Okay? Because ang forgery of signature is not encouraged by law. So any instrument na gi-forge ang signature is not valid. Presumption of consideration. If you look at our example kanina, nakasulat for value received. Actually, pwede mo na hindi isulat yan. Because it is presumed na whenever an instrument is drawn or made, it is presumed na may value ka na na-receive. Kaya ka nagbigay ng cheque, kaya ka nagbigay ng promissory note, kasi may na-receive ka na hindi mo pa nabayaran, so you make your bill of exchange or promissory note or check. Okay? So, presumption of consideration. Presumed yan na may consideration. Every negotiable instrument is deemed prima facie to have been issued for a valuable consideration, and every person whose signature appears thereon to have become a party thereto for value. Okay? So, kung ikaw may hawak ng instrument, and then may value ka na binigay doon sa nag-endorse sa'yo, for example, bumili siguro siya ng goods po, pambayad niya, negotiable instrument, then dahil nagbigay ka ng value, ang tawag sa'yo is holder for value. Okay? Paano sir kung wala talagang consideration, gagawa lang sila ng bill of exchange, gagawa lang sila ng check, gagawa lang sila ng promissory note. Ito yun. Absence or failure of consideration is a matter of defense as against any person not a holder in due course. Okay? So, itong absence of consideration, pwede mo lang ito maging defense na hindi mo bayaran yung instrument kung ang holder is not a holder in due course. Ibig sabihin, alam nung tao na nahawak na walang consideration niya. Pero if ang nakahawak is holder in due course, innocent siya, in good faith siya, and then nagbigay siya ng value para doon, he is a holder in due course, itong absence of consideration is not a defense against him who is a holder in due course. Because insofar as the holder in due course is concerned, okay, the presumption na may consideration will be upheld. Accommodation party. Sino may accommodation party? Okay, ganito ang accommodation party. Wala akong checkbook. Ikaw meron, sabi ko. Pwede mo ba ako gawa ng cheque for 1,000? Kasi may babayaran ako. Ako na bahala sa'yo magbigay ng 1,000 bukas. So, ikaw lang nag-accommodate mo yung request ko na magawa ng cheque. You are called an accommodation party. So accommodation party, parang wala din consideration, di ba? Nagbigay ka ng cheque na wala mo pa na-receive yung value. So, an accommodation party is one who has signed the instrument as maker, drawer, acceptor, or endorser without receiving value therefore. And the purpose is only for blending his name to some other person. Okay? And an accommodation party is liable to holder for value, notwithstanding such holder at the time the instrument knew him to be only an accommodation party. So, yung accommodation party is also liable, even if walang value. Kasi kung i-allow ito ng batas na lahat ng accommodation party hindi liable, lahat na lang mag-accommodation party na lang para safe sila. Okay? So, even an accommodation party, according to the negotiable instrument law, is liable. Holder for value. Okay, where value has at any time been given for the instrument, the holder is deemed to be a holder for value in respect to all parties who become such prior to that time. So, holder for value ang tawag sa iyo if ikaw yung may hawak ng instrument. For example, nagbenta ako ng goods sa kaibigan ko, nagbigay siya ng bill of exchange o promissory note sa akin. So, I am a holder for value kasi nabenta ko sa kanya yung goods. Then, ginamit ko yung instrument, negotiable instrument, bumili ulit ako ng goods doon sa supplier ko, ang pinangbayad ko yung instrument. Okay? So, yung supplier ko, nagbigay sa akin ng goods para magbenta ulit. Yung may hawak na ng instrument ngayon is yung supplier ko. And because binigyan niya ako ng goods, yung supplier ko is also called a holder for value kasi nagbigay siya ng value in exchange for the instrument. So, yun yung holder for value. Okay? So, where the holder has a lien on the instrument arising either from contract or application of law, he is deemed a holder for value to the extent of the lien. So, if you can remember your lien, claim ito claim. Maybe because mortgage mo yung negotiable instrument mo. Okay? So, may habol yung tao na sa iyo dahil nakaprenda yan sa kanya. So, he is also called a holder for value. Negotiation. Okay, ito yung kanina. Yung pinag-usapan natin kanina. An instrument is negotiated when it is transferred from one person to another in such a manner to constitute the transferee the holder thereof. So, yan ang ibig sabihin ng negotiation. Ilipat mo sa iba para siya naman ang maging holder. Paano ilipat? By the way, a holder means, yung holder is the pay. It may be the payee, or pag na-endorse mo na, he is called the endorsee of a bill or a note, who is the possession of it or the bearer thereof. So, yun yung holder, yung may hawak. If payable to bearer, it is negotiated by mere delivery. Okay, na-emphasize na yun kanina. Pagka bearer instrument, it is negotiated by mere delivery only. Wala na endorsement. But if it is payable to order, it is negotiated by endorsement and then completed by delivery. Endorsement means you have to write down at the back of the instrument or any piece of paper na i-attach mo doon sa document showing kung kanino mo siya i-endorse. So, pwede sa likod ng instrument, pwede sa baba, pwede sa separate na papel ang endorsement, basta i-attach mo doon sa instrument. Pero ang practice is sa likod para hindi mo na kailangan ng papel kasi matanggal pa itong papel. Basi matanggal pa tong separate paper nga gisulatan ni mag-endorsement. Although valid siya, pero for even ang cheque sa likod gina-endorse. An instrument negotiable in its origin continues to be negotiable until it has been restrictively endorsed or discharged by payment or otherwise. So, a negotiable instrument class remains to be negotiable because that is encouraged by law until such time na restrictively endorse siya. Ibig sabihin, yung last endorser sabi niya, oh, hanggang dito na lang, hindi na pwede endorse sa iba. So, hindi na siya pwede negotiate. Okay? Or by payment. Binabayaran ng instrument, na-present na doon sa maker or sa drawee, binayaran na, hindi na pwede negotiate yung papel. Negotiable instrument because paid na, discharged na. Okay? So, what is endorsement? The endorsement must be written on the instrument itself or upon a paper attached thereto. Okay? Pwede sa papel, pero separate paper pero i-attach pa rin. Pwede rin sa harapan kung may space, mula sa likod, pwede rin. Endorsement is usually written at the back of the instrument, where the instrument is written in an allonge. Ang allonge class is a separate paper na attached to the document. The same must be tacked or pasted on the instrument so as become a part of it. So if another paper, this is called allonge, it should be attached to that. Kung pwede i-paste para hindi matanggal. The endorsement may be made in any form for as long as it is meant to be an endorsement. Okay. The signature of the endorsement without additional words is a sufficient endorsement. It is called a blank endorsement. So, kinds of endorsement. Special endorsement. Special endorsement class ang tawag kung sinulat mo talaga kung kanino mag-endorse. Kaysa special kasi, sinulat mo yung pangalan ng endorsee. So, you are especially endorsing this to Juan de la Cruz. So, tawag special endorsement. So, a special endorsement specifies the person to whom or to whose order the instrument is to be payable. And the endorsement of such endorsee is necessary to further negotiation of the instrument. So, kung gi-endorse mo sa another person, that another person now has also the authority to endorse it further to another. So, special endorsement class ang tawag kung i-specify mo ang person kung saan mo siya gina-endorse. Blank endorsement class kung pinunirmahan mo lang. And when an order instrument is endorsed in blank, it becomes a bearer instrument. And later on may be delivered only, negotiated by delivery only, if it becomes a bearer instrument. Number 3 is restrictive endorsement. Okay, it prohibits the further negotiation of the instrument. So, pa-stop na niya ang endorsement. Yung last endorser, pa-stop na niya ang endorsement. I-restrict niya. Sir, paano kung gi-transfer pa rin? If you can still remember yung sa law on sales na class, may tinatawag tayo na assignment. Assignment means is the sale of a right. Okay. Kapag ka na-prohibit na ang negotiation ng instrument by the last endorser, sabi niya doon, should not be negotiated further or should be non-negotiable na. Okay, tapos gi-transfer pa rin sa iba, yung transfer na yun is not negotiation, it's already assignment of rights. Okay? Sa assignment of rights, ang kaibahan, kasi sa negotiable instruments, pag hindi ka nabayaran, pwede makabulin yung mga nag-endorse na iba. Sa assignment of right class, kung sino lang yung binilihan mo ng right, doon ka lang pwede maghabol. Okay? Number 4, qualified endorsement. Pag na may nakasulat na without recourse. Minsan ko si class, gusto ng isang endorser na mag-endorse without recourse. Ibig sabihin, pag hindi mabayaran yung instrument, hindi siya habulin. Pwede yun. Risk na yun ng tumanggap. Sabi ng tumanggap, sige, lagay mo dyan without recourse. So, ang pwede niya lang habulin, yung mga endorser na hindi lang sulat ng without recourse. So, without recourse means without resort to the person is secondarily liable after the default of the person is primarily liable. Ang primarily liable class is yung maker sa promissory note. Kung bill of exchange is yung drawee kasi siya yung magbabayad talaga. Yung mga endorser are only called secondarily liable, ibig sabihin, magiging liable lang sila kung ang primarily liable na person, who is the maker or the drawee, will not pay. So kapag ang endorser ni sinulat niya without recourse, alam yun ng endorsee na risk yun, pero tinanggap niya pa rin, and then later on, hindi binayaran ng primarily liable person, ang pwede nilang habulin yung mga endorser lang na hindi nagsulat ng without recourse. That is a qualified endorsement. So, a conditional endorsement number 5. Maglagay ka ng condition na gusto mo Okay? Pero, pwede pa rin yan bayaran ng drawee or ng payee kahit na hindi pa natapos yung, hindi pa nangyari yung condition. Because ang condition nangyari doon sa endorsement na. Kasi sa negotiable instrument, dapat unconditional yung main document, yung main instrument is unconditional. Okay, pero pwede ka naman gumawa ng conditional endorsement. Okay, so yung conditional endorsement, yung endorsement ang conditional, hindi yung main instrument. So pwede naman yung conditional endorsement. Pwede pa rin yan bayaran ng drawee or ng maker even if the condition is not yet fulfilled kasi hindi naman niya condition yun ng endorser. Pero yung nakatanggap ng pera should hold the money subject to the condition, to the happening or the non-happening of the condition. Okay? So yung naghahawak ng pera na, pag nabayaran na, siya na yung maghihintay kung ang condition ma-fulfill or hindi. Okay? Basta ang importante dito, there is such a thing as conditional endorsement. So that is the end of part 1. Okay, meron pa tayong part 2, ibig sabihin. Kasi nga mahaba ang negotiable instruments. Anyway, this is just an overview, simple overview of negotiable instruments. So that is for part 1.